Well, man, we just talked about it. Did we see ourselves in the Pac-12 semifinal a month ago? That obvious answer would have been no. We are so disjointed at the time. Our season had been so frustrating without games, that it was hard to envision what the potential of this team could be because we hadn't had a chance to really experience it. I think somebody told me yesterday that this is the second time all year that we've played 5 consecutive games, and this is the most we've played in a row. So we're hopeful that we can, tip off tomorrow in the semifinal, and that game gets the green light, and that will be new for us, 6 games in a row. It obviously, we knew it was going to take a big effort today. Oregon's a great team, very well coached. We knew, just because of the recent game on Sunday that we played against them, that there was going to be a bit of a chess match, as we tried to figure out, is everything okay? Okay. As we try to figure out, what their game plan was going to be and what their adjustments and what our adjustments were going to be, we knew that there was going to be a feeling out period in this game a little bit. It lasted a little bit longer than we'd hoped. The first quarter was interesting, to say the least, probably on both sides. But then we both settled in. That third quarter was special. We had, great performances throughout our roster. The other day we had 6 players that finished in double figures. Today we had 4 with 2 with 8 points. And, to beat really good teams, you have to have it, it's best to have scoring come from all over. And that's what I challenged the team with: stay aggressive, and so we got that lead in the third. And then of course, Oregon's not going to go anywhere. They're going to come back. They've got so much talent, and Mike Sell was really special today. Niara was special today, in keeping them close and making it a competitive game to the very end. And I was just proud of our team, for making the plays, and really happy and proud of them that they get to continue on in the tournament.
All right. Well,
Scott, the start to the game, the first quarter, did you feel like the shots were good? They just weren't falling, and eventually they would fall?
No. That's one of the things we talked about, though. I thought our shot selection was poor. I thought our overall execution was poor, and you have to give Oregon a lot of credit for that. They had a lot of energy starting this game. We knew they would. We beat them 3 days ago or 4 days ago now, and so we were aware that they'd probably had 3 very focused practices getting ready for this game, and they looked like that. They came out and disrupted us. I thought we were sped up a little bit because of the way that they were playing, and that led to poor execution overall and poor shots. This team, shoots the ball very well, as you all have seen, when we are in our rhythm, playing at our pace, and executing like we're capable of. But we were feeling out what the game was going to be like. And so I thought Oregon's defense controlled that first quarter for us, and it took us a while to adjust to it. And so give them a lot of credit for that.
You shot 12 out of 15 in the third quarter, but did you feel like the second quarter was what kind of got things going?
For sure. I thought, there was a shot that Aaliyah hit that 3. I think it was end of the first quarter or early second. I can't remember. I remember it being end of the first quarter, but it might not have been. But I thought that was a big shot for us. Just a kind of a shot in the arm for the team. And it just maybe just got us going. I think this is what we do. This is normal. And then that second quarter, obviously we found our rhythm and remembered who we were, and played very good basketball, I felt, both ends of the floor that second quarter.
Scott, how important was your defense there in that first quarter? I know, sometimes when you're not scoring, you might lax on defense, but you guys kept it within striking distance. But sometimes it felt like you guys were down 10-15 and you guys were down 5 at the end of that quarter. But how important was it that you guys were able to play that defense in the first quarter and then continue it the rest of the game?
Yeah, well, you said 10 or 15, and I told the team it felt like 20. That's how that quarter felt. It felt like they got the shots they wanted. For the most part, it felt like we were just on our heels the whole time, disjointed. And so I thought it was amazing, actually, that we were only down 5 at that time for the way the game had felt for us. But our defense is so much better. I felt like our posts really did a great job impacting shots, and we rebounded well. And that was the reason. I don't know what the overall rebounds were, but I know we were up 6 at halftime. The other day we got out rebounded by 5 at Oregon. And so that was maybe the stat of the game I felt today. We needed to win the boards against this team. I don't know if we did, but at least we were up during that stretch. And I think the defensive rebound was the only reason we were in the game at the end of the first quarter.
The third quarter, was that as well as you've played offensively this season?
Well, it felt a lot like Sunday's game to me. I mean, it was just everybody was so aggressive. They were switching defenses. They ran 3 different defenses that quarter, and our guards did such a great job handling it, getting us into offense against each defense. And then the ball moved so well, so we got such good looks. But Taya really stepped up in that quarter, and it's hard to do better than those numbers that you just shared. And so I don't know if we've been better than that for a stretch, but it felt very similar to the third quarter the other day. Similar timing, similar segment of the game where we separated on the scoreboard.
Scott, the play of Yelena today, she's been playing really well late, but how key was that? I mean, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 or 5 from the floor, and gave you really good minutes. You didn't have to have Taylor off the floor in this case, but you could just go with Yelena, and she provided a lot for you today.
She's a great changeup. I mean, they're just so different, and the other day we used Ellie in there as well. So that's 3 different, and Giovanna is very similar to Ellie in the way that she plays. And so we have 3 completely different looks at that center spot for us. And, Taylor's Taylor. Now Yellen is figuring out who she is, here late in her fake freshman year or whatever we're calling it. But Yelena is such a skilled basketball player. It just takes time to get used to the speed of the game, what you can get away with, what you can't get away with, how to be strong, how to maintain balance, through contact, all those things. And the team is learning her. And I thought today we really found her at right times, gave her good looks around the basket, but she's going to change shots all game long. And she has such a great knack for knowing where the ball is going to be and such good hands, that she's an impactful player, let alone, the assists. And she had obviously a beautiful assist, I think to Talia this time at the rim. And so just such a dynamic player that's kind of just coming into her own, obviously at a great time for us.
To throw a few more logs on this weird season, you had the lowest scoring quarter of your season and the highest scoring quarter of your season all in one game.
That's insane. Yeah, that's crazy. So the third quarter, how many do we have?
31 in the third, that's your
Wow.
high. 5 in the first, that's your low.
Yeah. It's the season of Twilight Zone, I guess. No surprise. Crazy.
In the third quarter, it looked like you were trying to get the ball to Jones. You ran a couple of pick and rolls there with Aaliyah. Was that what you were one of the things you were trying to do is get Jones involved?
I mean, we're just not necessarily. I think you just want to take what they give you, and that was kind of the theme of the day is take what they give us. And those on ball screens, that was the missing ingredient to the beginning of the game. We had a hard time getting to those screens, and therefore didn't have the advantages that we could have gotten, with better execution. The third quarter, I thought, we challenged the team with execution at halftime, and certainly Oregon was scoring in that third quarter as well to start with, especially. And so then we had to answer that, and so our execution was excellent, and our guards have the ability to come off and score, either over the top of it if they go under, or, hit that pull up or go to the rim and finish, and when that 5 is rolling hard like that, that makes them a real threat as well. And either they're open or it skews the help. And so I thought we just clearly executed much better in that third quarter.
Coach, in the morning or in the last couple of years, you've had the second session of games, like that 6 and 8 o'clock window usually. Does preparation change at all when you're the 11 a.m. window and you can kind of sit and watch everybody else play?
Well, we always talk about, it doesn't matter where or when. And I told the team this morning, 11 a.m. doesn't matter. It's just game time. Is when game time is. For coaches, the prep is a challenge the earlier you play, in my opinion. And so shoot arounds earlier, obviously it's at an hour that, you probably wouldn't choose if you had the choice, but it doesn't matter. 5 is clearly the evening session is just more normal. I'm one that doesn't believe a basketball game should ever start before noon. It's just the nature of the sport is a afternoon, usually an evening sport. So I think the team's going to appreciate a little extra time, maybe sleeping in an extra hour or two tomorrow morning as we prepare. So for us, there's no downtime. This is the toughest week of the year for coaching staff because you're playing against people that know you better than anybody. You're challenged. It's all the rivalries, it's just intense. When else do we play 3 games in 3 days? And usually, it's 4 games in 4 days, potentially anyway. And so we never do this at any other time of the year. And it's taxing on everyone, but that's a little bit of the charm of it and fun of the challenge.
Coach, what does this win mean to you, the significance behind it, not only to beat your rivals twice in a week, to win the season series against your rivals, but also to basically put to bed any thoughts that you guys don't belong in the NCAA tournament? Yeah.
I hope we had already done that, before today, but you never know. Right. And so what it means to me is that I'm just so happy for our team. You always want to beat your rivals, of course, Beaver Nation, I'm part of it. And so there's nothing more rewarding in my job than to see our players achieve like they have, come together as a group and conquer, and see those faces after a win like this, when I know all the work that goes into it. And then to take care of our fans and to take care of the people that love us. Nothing's more enjoyable for me personally than that. And so, the fact that it was Oregon today, sure. I mean, that's obviously there's something special there, and that would be probably true of anybody in their rivalry game. What I'm most happy about, though, is just this team has gone through the craziest year, is obviously well documented. And to get to this point, have an opportunity tomorrow night in the Pac-12 semifinal, not only to advance to the championship and have another opportunity to win, but maybe if it took this one to cement our spot in the NCAA tournament, I mean, that's why they came here. To do these types of things. And this is a team full of, at every level of this team, no matter what your role is in our program, it's full of winners that have done nothing but have success in their life, work hard, take care of each other, and do things right. And so I'm just most happy for them.
Hey, Scott, Talia got a little fired up on that and one that she got in the third quarter. I think the ref said something to her. I just wondered what it was like to see a freshman be that aggressive and fearless, and maybe talk a little trash. Maybe that's what she was doing. Hard to know. Yeah,
I don't see her doing that. I see her fired up, though. This is a Northwest athlete that understands what this rivalry is. She's been watching our program now for 6 years, something like that. And so now she's a part of it. I can relate. The first time I was in it, I had some of those same emotions. You also see just a ultimate competitor and a warrior on the floor that has lived her whole life for these moments, and now she's getting to experience them. So these are dreams come true, for her. And so, seeing her pump her fist, and get fired up. I mean, who doesn't love that? That's what this is, and so this is a team full of very competitive people. And that's the reason we're here. That's the reason that we were able to weather, the droughts in games all year long and be playing our best basketball right now. But to see a freshman do that, Lindsay, you know me well enough to know that's kind of what I expect from them. And, we see Sasha do the same, and we've seen Savannah do the same. And, now I think Yelena's even owning it just a little bit and understanding it all. And so it's awesome to see.
Coach, if your team didn't go through those pauses or have all those breaks, do you think that you would be in this point able to play for a Pac-12 semifinal?
Yes. With this team just needed time. We didn't know, Talia's obviously impacted our team. I mean, that's added a layer of talent and filled a void that we had. So Talia's addition advanced us beyond probably what we were capable of, before she arrived. But this team coming together, defending like we are now, operating cohesively, executing like we are now, inside out, shooters all over the floor, we just needed a chance to play. And so if you give this group their normal preseason, this was my expectation from the beginning of conference. We played our 16th game today, or 17th game, or 17th game today. That means it's mid-January right now, on a normal year. So I did expect us to be as good. Maybe, like I said, Talia wasn't here, so I don't know, but I expected us to be competitive with everyone in the conference this year. Happy we finally had the chance.
Scott, Aaliyah has become so good at recognizing where the defender is when she comes off a pick and roll, hesitating and getting just a sliver of space, either for a great pass or a lot of times a pull up. That's different. That's a growth point for her compared to last year. Is that something that you told her in the offseason she needed to work on and you taught her how to do, or is that from watching a lot of film on her part?
I think it's out of necessity. Certainly our staff, Jonas has worked really hard with her for 4 years now. Aaliyah coming into Oregon State, one of the things that I loved about her game was her ability to shoot the three over the top of an on ball off the dribble. When you see that as a coach, that's a wow skill. You don't see it often, at least not make it very often. And so she was making those as a freshman in high school. And so, when you have that skill, she obviously has the ability to finish at the rim. Those two things were always there. Her finishing is, obviously now much better than it was. And now she's added the mid-range and she's added the middle. And, in this day and age, that's typically the last part to come. Who's got that mid-range, And so I think back, obviously everybody's familiar since we played Oregon today with Sabrina. Sabrina didn't have that mid-range our first year that playing against her. And then every year she'd add something to the point at the end where you couldn't guard her. I mean, you just had to hope she missed or try to throw something at her to keep her off balance. And now you're seeing that same progression in Aaliyah where, she can go left, she can go right, she can score in the middle, she can hit a runner, she can hit a pull up, she can make the right pass at the right time. And so her awareness now is just so much different. The game has slowed down, the hesitation and all those parts of her game. That's just a ton of hard work on her part. And it's a really great basketball mind, to go along with the skill. And so it's a joy to watch. But when she got here, I told her, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. She can be as good as she wants with her skill set and her mind. Her body, she's not the most elite athlete, but man, she's a better athlete than people think. And so she's a tough cover. I'm so proud of her.